Creating an array of numbers. There are two ways to create an array. First, finding an initial list of values. So we have here numbers, and we put now initial values to our numbers array. And the values that we put are 10, 2, 5, 40, 30, 107. So this is the first way of creating an array, wherein you put now different initial values of your created array. So you know that it is an array because you have the symbol added to the data type that you declared on to the variable you created. And in terms of length of this array, you're going to count now this number of initial values is set, and that is also the length of your array. So if we are going to count it out, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Therefore, the length of these numbers declared as array is also 7. The second way of creating an array is by providing just the length. And the initial value of all of that array you created is 0. So we have int numbers. Numbers is the name of our array, and we know, and then the variable type is integer. Int, new int 4. The 4 here is the number of elements of the array that you declare or you created. And this approach initializes all values of array to 0. So the number of these 4 elements that you have created is set to 0. Now, creating an array of strings. So there are two ways also to create an array using string data type. So first, providing an initial list of values. So we have string, and you know it's an array because of this symbol, and names is the name of our array, and we initialize it with values Mary, Ann, and Joe. So therefore the length of this array is 3. Now providing just the length, just like what we did a while ago. So here we create now 10 elements of names set to null or empty, because of the 10 that we declare here. So this is how you are going to create now, provide now length of your array. So it should be in the instance of your data type. So new string, and then 10 as the length of your array. So the second approach initializes all values to null. Null means that these values are not valid string. Okay. Accessing single elements, we have int numbers. Numbers is the name of our array, and the values of this array are 10, 2, 5, 40, 30, 110. And how are you going to access now a single element or a single index of that array? So int a, we have now a variable a wherein we get now the value of one item in our array. So numbers, so we have here numbers 0. This 0 here refers to the first value of your array, which is 10. So if the index or the address, not the address because that refers to the memory, so the index of each of these elements of your array are, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 as the length, and the way we identify each element of the array is through their index, and the index of these values are in ascending order, so it will start from 0. So the index of 10 is 0. So numbers 0 refers to 10, therefore the value of a is 10. So system.out.printf %d numbers 5, so it refers to the element 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it refers to 100. So the above code creates an array of 7 integers, so that's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 0 refers to element 0 of the array, which is, of course, this is 10. So important element position starts with 0, not 1. So as I have mentioned a while ago. Okay, so we have int numbers. So again, just 0 to 200. So that means numbers 5 refers to element 5 of the array, which is 100. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 100. Okay, so we have here, this is the above code will do what? So the above code is as simple as accessing the index 7 value and place it to variable a. So our 7 value is, we don't have 7 value because if you're going to count this one and the index of this 7 is already beyond the number of the index of this array because we started with 0. So that means we don't have number 7 address and does not exist a valid position only up to 0 to 6. So length of array. So int number. So again, this is the same variable we have a while ago. So that means this is 7 elements, 7 values. Therefore, the length of our numbers is 7. So, to sum that out, that printf means we're just going to display now the value from index 0 to 6. And how are we going to get how are we going to get the movement from 0 to 6? By creating a variable I, and our I starts from 0, and numbers that length is 7, and I changes from 0 to 6 because the last value that the condition will process is 6, because by the time that I becomes 7, that will make this condition false, and that will exit now from the loop. So this loop will repeatedly process 0 to 6 values of I. And it will now display the value of numbers from 0 to 6 locations of your numbers variable array. So that will display 10, 2, 5, 40, 30, 100, and 200. So the above code prints all 7 elements of the array. Numbers that length gives the number of elements in the array. Okay, changing single element. So how are you going to change now a single element? All you need to do is call now the index. So the value that you put now inside of that open and close brace is refers to the index, and the element right after the assignment is the value that you're going to replace now to that of the location of your array. So numbers 0, that refers to 10, and you are going to replace now the value 10 to 3 by this line of command numbers 0. 0 is this location, so you replace now with 3. Numbers 4, so that's location number 4, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 30, and 30 will be replaced with 15. So numbers 4 at location 4, you're going to replace it with 15. The above code creates an array of 7 elements. So this is now 7 elements of an array. Sets the value of number 0 to 3. So that means this 10 will be replaced with 3. And sets the values of 4 to 15. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this 30 will be replaced with values 15. So what will this code print? So we have now still the same, since we already replaced now 10 with 3 and 30 with 15. It will then print now 3, 2, 5, 40, 15, 100, and 200. So let us see if it's really what does it be doing. So the expected output is a 3, 3, 2. Why is it 3 instead of 10? Because of this line of command wherein we change now 3 into, I would change now 10 into 2, and we change now 10 into 3, then followed by 2, 5, 40, and our 30, it was changed to 15 because 30 is located at numbers index 4. So this is our index 4. So this 30 will change now to 15. 15, 100, and 200. So this output is what this program is doing. So this is that means for I will travel from 0 up to 6. And it will now print numbers from I0 to I6. So this is now the expected output. So changing again single elements. So what does this code doing? So what will this code print? So we have string str equals new string of 5. So we created now a string character with 5 elements. And we set now string str2 to Chicago and str3 to New York. And we are going to display now the value. So it means that from 0 to 4, and then at I location 0, it doesn't have an output, so it doesn't have a value, so it will just be an empty string. 0 at location 1 will be an empty string again, and str location 2 will be Chicago, and str location 3 will be New York. So what will this program will be doing is it will print now 3 empty str, and then at the 4th line will be Chicago, and at the 5th line at 0, 1 to at the 3rd line will be Chicago, and at the 4th line, 2nd line, 3rd line will be New York, and the 4th line will be an empty string. So let us see. So you have null, null, Chicago, New York, and then null. So str0, str1, and str4 have still not received valid values, so they will print now null. Okay, reading an array from a user. So write a program that asks the user to enter an integer in, and asks the user to enter n values and store them in an array. Prints out the values. So let's say, for example, sample output, you have enter n5. So you put now, you initialize now 5, then ask the user to enter n values and store them in array. So since I input 5, it will also ask me 5 different values. So I have inputted, for example, 40, 10, 80, 100, and 20, and it will display now along with the index value, the location of if this input of these different inputs that I have. So we have numbers at location 0 is 40, numbers at location 1 is 10, numbers at location 2 is 80, numbers at location 3 is 100, and numbers at location 4 is 20. As it is mentioned in the problem, wherein it will ask the number of input from the user, and whatever the input or the value struck by the user, that would also be the number of items that you are going to input. So at the number of 5, enter 5, then it will repeatedly ask for 5 items or elements of your array, and then that array will be displayed. So let us see if it works. So this is now, we strike 5, and then it will ask now 5 different values. So let's say we strike 2, 10, and then 3, 7, 8. So you have at index 0, so these are the input made upon during the asking of values of your 5 elements. So you've strike 2, 10, 3, 7, and 10, and those values you've strike and also was displayed based on their index. So number 0 is 2, 1 is 10, 2 is 3, 3 is 7, and 4th element or the last element is now 8. So that's the code that answers now to the simple questions on how are you going to create, how will you ask now 5 elements of your array, input that 5 elements, and display also the different 5 elements that you have inputted. So let's say I will input now 3, then it would only also ask 3 elements of array. So let's say I input now 7, 100, and the last that I'm going to input is 500. So 3 elements. And then it will display all my inputs me. So 7, 100, and 500.